getting Noah off, I'm sorry, I would trade Frank with Noah just to get the money clear. And anybody don't agree with me, I understand. That's a fair argument to not agree with me. But all I'm saying is that's the only reason I would trade Frank. Not because I want him on my team. I personally think he could start for us next year and be the second or third best player on our team, personally. But I don't think that that's going to take us to the next level. And I don't necessarily believe in people like Kyrie Irving that much to give them long-term contracts. But that's the player I need. That's the type of player I need. That's all I'm saying. So whatever that caller is, that caller, thank you so much for what you said, because I agree with you, except for the fact of I would trade Frank, Noah, for it. They can give me this. I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? To get Noah off, I'll take it.
All right. I wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I think that's short-sighted. You know, so I think it's kind of short-sighted to trade someone that you think is an asset just to get rid of one of your big contracts. I think you let that contract ride out, because if Frank has the ability to be one of our starting guards and hopefully be a starter for years to come, you're going to trade a starter for years to come to get someone off your books that's going to be off in 2 years anyway. You know what I'm saying? I think you just got to look a little bit longer term, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But I know we want to talk about point guard stuff, so we're going to get into it right now. We're going to get in and talk about these point guards. All right, so what I did is, and I didn't go super deep into the stats, but I grabbed a couple of surface stats for us to look at when we're talking about these players and what they bring to the team, the effect that they have on the team. Now, these stats, of course, is some people only have a certain number of games that have been played. Obviously, KP went out at a certain point, and you're playing with a different team. Anytime you add one player, two players, your team changes. You can have 14 of the same players. You add one, you have a different team, because that person brings a different dynamic, brings something different to the chemistry, and all those things. All right, so this is based on last year. These are the only stats that we have to go by. All right, and I'll be able to bring some more stuff up from Basketball Reference, but we can only go by what we've seen and what we witnessed last year. So that's what we're going to talk about. So let's start with Trey Burke. All right, I'm going to bring up Trey Burke. All right. We're just going to take a look at his stats. Trey Burke, 6 foot, 190 pounds. Last year, Trey Burke averaged 12.8 points per game, 4.7 assists, 2 rebounds a game. He shot 50% from the field. From 3, he shot 36.2% from 3. Free throw percentage, 65%. We definitely would need him to bring his free throw percentage up. But his effective field goal percentage is 55.2%. For those who may not know, the effective field goal percentage is your percentage from the field, your percentage from 3, and then your percentage from the free throw line averaged out. So that's your effective field goal percentage. But this is what I want you guys to look at. All right. I did a little comparison with on court, off court. Okay. When Trey Burke is on the court, the Knicks score 112.7 points per game when he's on the court, or at that rate. Okay. The opposing team is at an offensive rating of 117.9 points per game when Trey Burke is on the floor. So when Trey Burke is on the floor, the opposing team outscores us by 5.2 points. When Trey Burke is off the floor, clearly because of his offensive efficiency, the team's offensive rating drops by 6.7 points. The offensive rating is 106. But on the other hand, the opponent's offensive rating also drops to 109.5. Right? So when you look at it, when you're looking at these stats that you're seeing right now, when Trey Burke is on the floor, teams score 5.2 points more than us. When Trey Burke is off the floor, teams score 3.5 points more than us. All right? I mean, clearly we're a losing team, so teams are scoring more points than us regardless. But that's a big difference. When Trey Burke is off the floor, teams are, I guess, 8 points worse, somewhere around there. That's Trey Burke. His on the floor, off the floor numbers. Now let's take a look at Frank Ntilikina, and let me fix this up a little bit for you. Frank Ntilikina, his numbers. Frank Ntilikina, 6'5", 190 pounds. All right. 6'5", 190 pounds. He averages 5.9 points per game, 3.2 assists per game, 2.3 rebounds per game. His field goal percentage, clearly low, 36% from the field. His 3-point percentage, low. We know this, 31.8% from the field. His free throw percentage, 72%. His effective field goal percentage, 41.4% from the field. Right? But when we talk about Frank, are these the things that you want to look at? We know that Frank struggled last year offensively. But are these the things that we want to see, that we want to talk about when we're talking about Frank? Because I don't know. In my opinion, we're not asking Frank to score is not what we want to do. That's not what it is. At least not right now. But on the court, the team's offensive rating is 105. Opposing team's offensive rating is 107.7. Okay, so teams are still outscoring the Knicks by 2.7 points when Frank is on the floor. Off the court, the team's offensive rating is 109.1. The opponent's offensive rating is 113.8. So teams are outscoring the Knicks by 4.7 points per game when Frank is off the floor. All right, so clearly you can see Frank has a defensive presence when he's on the floor. Okay, that's clear. All right, and we're gonna come back to these numbers, but we're just looking at this right now. We're gonna come back to these numbers. All right, now let's look at Ron Baker. And surprising enough, Ron Baker just may surprise some people. I know a lot of people say that Ron Baker is going to be the odd guy out. Ron Baker is the one who is, doesn't belong on the team. Most of that is due to his contract, right? Looking at these numbers, though, let's not be so quick to say that he's just an automatic out. Ron Baker, I think, he's a guy that Fizdale just may like. He works hard. He's got a great work ethic. He's somebody that Fizdale may say, you know what, I want this guy on my team. Because of those things, because he exemplifies the type of things that Fizdale is saying he wants the team and the organization to represent. So that's something that we should think about. Obviously, that contract wasn't warranted, but there's nothing you could do about that now. But when you're looking at the numbers, Ron Baker, 2.4 points per game, 1.6 assists per game, 1.1 rebound a game. Doesn't jump out at you. Field goal percentage, 34%. Field goal percentage from three, 33.3%. Free throw percentage, 77%. Effective field goal percentage, 43.2%. Now, here's where your eyes may jump up a little bit. On the court, when Ron Baker was on the court, the team averaged 110.8 points per game. The opponent averaged 107.7. The only player in this group who, when he was on the floor, the opponent scored less points than we did, than the Knicks did. The only player in this group, when he was off the floor, we averaged 107 points per game. The opponent averaged 111.5 points per game. The only player, this is the, excuse me, Ron Baker is the only player in this group, these 4 point guards, who, when they're on the court, the Knicks average more points. The Knicks rating, offensive rating, was higher than the opponent's offensive rating. And when he was off the floor, the Knicks offensive rating was lower than the opponent's offensive rating. The only player. I see people say fake news and all this kind of stuff. I'm just giving you statistics. I'm just giving you stats. You take from it what you will. I'm giving you stats. You know what I'm saying? Does it mean that Ron Baker is going to be the starting point guard? That's not what I'm saying. Right? I'm just giving you something to look at, to not be so quick in saying that Ron Baker is automatically out of here, because it may not be the case. When you look at that means something. Now, let's put it in perspective. Ron Baker played, I think, 29 games, so it was limited. And he was also playing while KP was playing. All right, so we do need to put that into perspective. You know that he didn't play when KP was down, Ron Baker was down. He wasn't playing during that time, so his numbers, it could have changed significantly. Right now, let's take a look at Mudiay. Emmanuel Mudiay, 6'5", 190 pounds. Average 8.6 points per game, 3.4 assists, 2.4 rebounds. Field goal percentage, 38%. From three, 31.8%. Free throw percentage, 76%. Effective field goal percentage, 43.3. Mudiay is in the same boat with Trey Burke. When he's on the court, the team's offensive rating is 102.9. The opponent's offensive rating is 117. When Mudiay is off the floor, the team's offensive rating is 108. So the team's offense gets better with Mudiay off the floor. And then the team's defense gets better when Mudiay is off the floor. What does that tell you about Mudiay? Right? Off the court, the team's offensive rating is 108. The opponent's offensive rating is 110.3. We get better in both aspects. When Mudiay is off the floor. That doesn't bode well for Mudiay, right? So now, when you look at it now, some people say, Ron Baker is definitely the one that's going to be gone. Well, at least by these on-court, off-court stats, Baker was better for the team than Mudiay. And I tell you what, Baker would keep the ball moving, even though he's not a natural point guard. He kept the ball moving. He didn't try to do things that maybe he couldn't do. And does Mudiay do that? I don't know. But he's smart. I say that about Ron Baker. Ron Baker was smart. Made the right decisions with the ball. Made the pass to the right people, to the right person. Was he worth $4 million? Maybe not. Probably not. Nah, not probably. No, he's not. But the stats are the stats. You know what I'm saying? So let's look at it side by side. We look at everybody side by side. Okay? Look at it side by side. Burke, when you talk about on the court, Trey Burke, when Burke is on the court, the team averages 112.7. Offensive rating of 112.7. Makes sense. Frank is 105. Ron Baker, 110.8. Mudiay, 102.9. The lowest of everyone, Emmanuel Mudiay. The opponent's offensive rating, and now you're seeing the comparison now. When Burke is on the floor, it's 117.9. That's the worst. A lot of that is due to his size, which is something that we continue to argue about. Some people don't believe the size means anything. I do. Frank, the team's offensive rating, opponent's offensive rating 107.7. We went through this already, but now you can see it side by side. Right? You can see it side by side, and you can see who's really hurting the team. Based on this here, Ron Baker and Frank help the team the most when they're on the floor. You know, based on on-court, off-court, Ron Baker and Frank. Take from it what you will. These are the stats. If you got kids, I gave you a little bit of chance. I stalled for a second so that you can get a chance to cover your kids' eyes. But this is what I come out the dentist office to on TMZ Sports. Joakim Noah, smiling, happy. Look at him. Happy that he's doing this. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. And see, that brings into question a few things for me. You know, because one of the conversations that we've had as a group is that Joakim Noah could possibly be that veteran leader, you know, one of the veteran leaders in the locker room, right? That Joakim Noah could be, you know, one of that trifecta of leaders with Lance Thomas, Courtney Lee. That is not veteran leadership to me. So yeah, I'm ready to let Joakim Noah rock. Go ahead, buy him out. The thing is, that may not be the smartest business move, I guess. That's the thing about it. So then I guess maybe you just banish him from the team or something. And the reason why it may not be the smartest business move to buy him out is because let's just say in 2019, we are in the running to pick up one of these free agents or two free agents. You know, and we are able to have max dollars. In order to do that, you may need to stretch Joakim Noah's contract. I'm not for stretching his contract because I don't want that burden for years to come. But if we're in the position to get a couple of max players or do something, then it may be necessary, and I'm willing to do it if it's for one of those type of reasons. So buying them out could end up hurting the team later on. It could. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe if I'm right, and if we have anyone who knows the cap in the chat better than I do, let me know if I'm wrong. But I believe even when you buy him out, you know, if you buy him out this year, it doesn't mean that you have free cap space in 2019. That still hits your books as if he was on your team. It's just that you bought him out so that he's gone and he's away from the team. But I believe it still hits your books, which is probably the reason that they have not bought him out yet. The only way that it will not hit your books is if you stretch him. So there's the dilemma. So, you know, I don't know. We got to figure out something, because to me, that's not cool. I mean, it's not cool, especially we're a franchise that's trying to get rid of this buffoonery. We're trying to get rid of this perception that we're jokes throughout the league. And if you want to get rid of that perception, you simply cannot have stuff like this taking place. You can't. If you're trying to get rid of the perception that you're a clown throughout the league, you can't have your players doing stuff like this. And in my opinion, Scott Perry, Steve Mills, you need to do something. I think you need to do something. I don't know what you can do. I really don't. You know, I don't know if it's within their power to do anything. but I'd like to see something happen. Something. Ron Cleveland, man, what's popping, bro?
Man.
You in the house, Ron?
Hey, Sim, man, you know you shocked me tonight, man. That was shock value, man.
I shocked you.
Hitting with that video, man. I ain't, I don't miss much because I be surfing a lot, man. Be trying to, stay up on our Knicks, man. When I saw that, I'm like, what is this fool doing, man? Is he trying out for chip tail? What's going on, man? I mean, hey, to me, he gotta go. He gotta go. If you changing the culture, man, when you changing the culture, you're trying to establish something new. You can't still have a bunch of foolishness. And I agree with you earlier, man. It's straight up buffoonery. Scott Mills and them boys, man. Perry, them boys they need to cut him right now. Don't even waste no more time. And I was one of the biggest advocates to keep the cat, man, because I felt like, okay, this dude, we know what went on with Jeff Hornacek, and I was like, okay, he got a clean slate, he got an opportunity. It's like you go into class, you get a new teacher, and this teacher coming in, and she's saying, okay, well, Ron, hey, we ain't worrying about what happened with the last teacher. You know what I mean? We gonna rock, and I got you. But this dude had a perfect opportunity, and he messed that up, man.
Yeah.
Up in the jungle with the animals. I mean, this dude's head is not right, man. He might have got a hold of some bad things.
I mean, the jungle thing. The jungle thing didn't really bother me. I mean,
it
that's
didn't bother me neither. But when you're in the jungle and you done took and dyed your goatee, and now you up there taking your clothes off in the middle of the street. Hey, they need to drug test that dude, man. He needs some mental health.
Nate Dogg, you on next, bro?
What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on? I'm chilling, man.
We just opened up a debate here, and I wanted your opinion on this.
All right.
Because people have been telling me that you're kind of the anti-KP. I know you're not, man, but it's just funny to say.
You know what? I'm gonna take it. If that's what it is, I'll take it. I'll be the anti-KP.
Well, I actually want your opinion here. I want your opinion. I want you to be honest with me. Is KP a max player?
Right now, as we speak, if he wasn't injured, I don't know if he's a max player.
He's a max player.
I don't know if he's a max player. I do not know if he's a max player. He's 22 years old,
Sims. He's the 7'3" guy. He can shoot the three, block the shots. I mean, Mark.
Okay.
Mark.
My question is, I know he's a 7'3" guy that can block shots off the ball.
How many players at that size?
What have you done to be a max player? That's my question with any player in the league, besides just the stats. Because Charles Smith came to the Knicks a long time ago, right? You remember way back in the day, Charles Smith came to the Knicks. He played with the Clippers, and he had the stats of an all-star. And what happened when he came to the Knicks? He was no longer that all-star. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying that they come to the Knicks and die?
No, I'm not saying they come to the Knicks and die. The Knicks were a championship caliber team. I'm saying he was playing on a team that was trash. Then when he went to a championship caliber team, he wasn't the same caliber of player.
Well, let me ask you.
And so with KP,
go ahead.
Oh, 1 second. With KP, I still need to see, can he come out and average 22, 6, and 2, 3 blocks on a championship contending team? But we don't know that. He led the NBA
in blocks before he got hurt.
I mean, that's cool, right? But can he do that on a championship caliber team? We don't know that.
Hey, good night, Tim. How are you doing? This is JP calling again.
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing pretty good.
I'm doing well. Wow, it was a lot of stuff you guys talk about today. But I just want to call to congratulate you. I saw your video earlier with what you're planning to do with the kids. And
thank you. I appreciate it.
I just like to I like how your chat is growing and how you're branching out to different channels and stuff like that too. I like the video that you did with the entertainer and stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you. We got another one coming too.
Yeah. As far as the basketball camp, I'm in the New York area too. So I mean, I obviously I would like to try to help out as much as I can, even if it's just like a financial donation. That'll be cool.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put my email in the chat before I leave, so that people can hit me up if they want to help out next year with the camp.
Yeah, and just to talk about basketball, I just want to tell everybody to kind of slow their roll and just pretty much be paying attention to what it is the front office is saying. And I know it's good that we have all this attention to us as far as like who may come next year, but you basically just have to worry about what's going on in-house, worry about the players that you have on your staff, and try to see if you could develop them as much as possible and stuff of that nature. Because this sounds like 2010 all over again. I'm not buying none of it.
You know what? It really does.
Yeah, I'm trying not to, because it's like, and I've been a Knicks fan for 26 years, and I've been through with I'm not buying it. I don't think the front office is buying it either. As far as the whole situation with Noah, I mean, it's unfortunate that that he's gotten to this point in his career, considering what he's done early on in his career. But I'm quite sure that I have confidence that they'll be smart enough to do something with that contract. I mean, even if it means that they may have to wait. I think maybe what the best thing you may have to do is possibly you have a lot of expiring contracts, this year. So what I would do is pretty much, if I can, trade whatever I can and get a bunch of second-round draft picks and maybe attach those second-round draft picks to Noah. But I don't think that they'll just get rid of him. And I don't think they can have him sit there, because I don't think the Players Association will allow that to happen.
Yeah. You always
wasn't too happy with him sitting there. And I don't know if they'll be able to pull that off again.
Yeah, you always got to take that into consideration.
One thing, as far as Frank's concerned, man, like I said, I've been Knicks fan for over 25 years, and I honestly think that your chat is like a tale of two Knicks fans. You have the old school Knicks fan, and you have the new school Knicks fan. The old school Knicks fan, we love the defense. Mm-hmm. That's. I mean, in the 70s, in the 90s, all of our success is the common denominator has been defense. So I don't know how you can take a look at a player like Frank and say, oh, he's trash. The dude's not trash. I mean, it's obvious to me that, like, I don't understand the hypocrisy where you're willing to have Mitchell, oh, he needs to develop, and Knox needs to develop, but you wouldn't give that same courtesy to Frank.
Thank you.
I don't understand. It's just a fair thing. I like, and to be honest with you, if you are a real Knicks fan, what you need and what you're hoping for and praying for is that the coaching staff allows this team to develop. Because if this team develops, that will change the narrative for this organization. Because we've always been known to, the Knicks, when we do draft, we don't develop. You always get that. Spurs has that reputation of developing players and stuff like that. So let them develop whoever they can, and let it rock, man. Just relax. And as far as Ruben's concerned, I'm not, I respect everybody's opinion, but that dude calls every show to complain about Frank. But he'll be the first one to complain, oh yeah, Knicks lost by 30, or Harden dropped 50 on us. You can't have it both ways, man. You gotta let these people rock. They literally babies.
You're right.
I couldn't tell you the last time the Knicks have had 3 first-round draft picks in it's never happened. It's never happened. Mm-hmm. You put Frank on the market, you'd be surprised how many teams would go after that guy. Mm-hmm. He's like a Chris Middleton. Listen, you look at Milwaukee's team. Long, fast. That's where the NBA's, that's where they're heading to.
Yep. And that's what we're building. And that's what we're building. And Frank is the tipping point. Playing that point guard spot. He is the tipping. He's the start.
One last thing. So now I'm all for giving second chances. I mean, everyone deserves it, and no matter what capacity you're in life. But when I look at, let's say, Moutier and Trey Burke, when Trey Burke played in Utah, he was a starting point guard. Mm-hmm. They drafted Dante Exum, and instead of him saying, you know what, I'm not going to allow you to take my spot, he went into his feelings and crawled up like I don't know, he cowered like an animal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he went to Washington, same thing. All of a sudden, we want that guy to be, you know, the star point guard of this team. So why is it that we want to rescue someone else's garbage, but we won't be able to, you know, give our own player that we drafted that respect? I didn't see Frank getting upset and going into his feelings. He's like, all right, no problem. I'm gonna still go and work hard, come to work, play defense every single day. No matter what goes on with the Knicks, he gives me the same thing every day. I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Moutier. When Harris got drafted, he didn't fight for that spot. He just allowed him to take it. These are the kind of guys you want, mentally tough guys. Frank's that kind of guy. Now, if you give him the season and he's still showing you a little, you know, something you don't like to see, then you may want to think about it. But I'm definitely not going to give up on a guy going into his second year, especially when last year he didn't get a great opportunity with all that nonsense that was going on, getting 15, 20 minutes a night. 1 minute he's starting, next minute he's not starting. Next thing you know, they trade him for like 2-3 plays. Come on, that's not right. There's no one that would be able to function in that kind of environment.
You're right.
You kind of just hope that Fizz has that impact that he had on Connolly. And if that happens, we'll see. Because if Fizz is able to get to Frank, everyone's going to love Frank. And
You know
I'll make you a promise.
All right.
When Frank starts, I'll send you a nice super chat. I promise.
All right. I'm with that. Oh, you know what? Instead of a super chat, you could just donate it to the camp.
I will definitely do that. Definitely do that because I know you've been a Frank fan from day one.
I do plan to do some basketball camps next summer, and if anyone wants to volunteer, my email is in the chat right now. Okay, you can email me. Let me know that you want to volunteer. You know, because basketball, you know, is way more than just bouncing the ball on the court. You know, most kids, they're not going to make it to the NBA, right? They're not going to make money playing basketball. So for most people, it's a learning experience. And that's what we want to provide with these free camps. You know, we'll do like 1 or 2 of them next year. That's the plan. But, you know, we got to start planning early so we can get some things right. So hopefully we can get enough volunteers. I appreciate you all for, if you choose to volunteer, I appreciate you for jumping on with me. For volunteering, all those who, you know, thank me or whatever, for working in the community. I appreciate you, and I'm going to continue to do it, and I hope other people can do it as well. You know, because it is definitely important for a lot of our children to have leaders in the community to step up and fight for them, fight for their rights, fight for sometimes their survival. And sometimes you just being there, you know, helping out with a free camp or spending some time, you know, with a young man, a young lady that maybe needs a mentor is an escape for the life that they live and will help them to move on to the next day and achieve some of their goals. So hit me up in the chat. Send me an email. You know, if you want to volunteer with some of these camps, you know what I mean? But other than that, I'm about to head out. You know, if you haven't subbed the channel, please make sure you sub the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell, get a notification anytime that I go live.